Welcome back to the Alpha Roofing and Claims podcast. Thank you for joining us again. I'm so happy to be back. And so this week we will talk about shingles and picking out the right shingle for your roof and the difference between different shingles. I know these past few weeks we talked about getting your roof replacement approved by your insurance. By now you should have received your check back from your insurance company or from your mortgage company. And so you should have paid the contractor. And so now the fun part is picking out the shingles. Your shingle type and the type of shingle matters because it's part of your house. It's like getting rims on your car. You don't want to get the wrong rims. And it's the same thing with shingles. You want to make sure you pick the right shingle. Before we get started, the first thing you have to really figure out is if you live in a neighborhood that has an HOA, sometimes the HOA will require a certain type of shingles. So make sure you check with your HOA because we all know those HOAs can be a complete nightmare. And if you put the wrong shingle on, you will have to replace it again. So make sure that you go through your HOA guidelines or bylaws to determine if there's a specific type of shingle that you have to have. And even also within your city, I've run across certain cities that require a certain type of shingle on new builds. There's parts of the country where the neighborhoods only have wood shakes or they only have an architectural shingle. So make sure you verify your HOA guidelines or even with your city. Those building codes can be a nightmare. They will charge you or fine you if you don't select the correct type of shingle. And trust me, the average roof is about $10,000-$12,000, and you don't want to have to replace another roof for $10,000-$12,000, possibly out of your own pocket. So just make sure everything is clear when you're starting to pick out the shingles. And most roofing contractors are aware of the guidelines within certain areas. So normally your insurance company will pay for the exact same shingle that you already have. They won't pay for any upgrades. So if you have a metal roof now, they're only going to pay for a metal roof. They won't let you upgrade and get you a clay tile roof. It's pretty, but they're not paying for it. But traditionally, most Americans have two types of shingles. You either have a 3-tab shingle or you have an architectural shingle. So your 3-tab shingle, it's the traditional square shingle that you'll see on most houses in regular working class American homes. They're about a foot long, and it's like in a square or rectangle, well, more of a rectangle shape. But they are typically called 25-year 3-tab shingle. These are they're less expensive, they're weaker, and they're less durable. So if you have a 25-year 3-tab shingle, just know more than likely your roof will get damaged very quickly depending on the area that you live in. When the high winds come in, those shingles probably are going to fly up. If you live in a hurricane prone area, your roof may not be there in the hurricane season. Or if you live in an area with a lot of hail damage, those 25-year 3-tab shingles damage easily. You're going to see bruising and you're going to see lifted shingles where the shingles are either folded in half or they're just typically blown off. They're just gone. So that's something to be cognizant of. But if you already have that traditional 25-year 3-tab shingle on your house, that's exactly what your insurance will pay for. And I'll post pictures of the different types of shingles so that you can see them on our Instagram page. Now, your other option is a 30-year laminate. They also call it an architectural shingle. These are probably my favorite roofs. They have more of they look 3D if you ever see them. It looks almost as if the shingles are just tacked on top of each other. But it's a higher caliber of shingle. You have a longer lifespan of them, so that means that architectural shingle will last longer than the 25-year 3-tab shingle. It's thicker, it's heavier, and so it has a higher resistance to wind. So if a good windstorm comes through your neighborhood, more than likely the house that has the 30-year laminate architectural shingle, that house will be fine. Okay? So it's rare you'll see a bunch of those shingles damaged unless they're older. But if it's newer, it'll last a while. It also increases the value of the home. The architectural shingles, they are more expensive. Almost be double that of a 25-year three tap shingle, depending on the market and the amount of squares on your house. It is expensive, but it's worth it. Those roofs will last longer. And so I always tell people, if you live in a house with a 30-year laminate shingle and your neighbor has a three tap shingle, just because your neighbor is getting a new roof does not mean you need one. You have a better quality of shingle. It's almost like, as I say, what's the difference between a 4.0 and a 4.6? Yeah, that's the difference. That architectural shingle will last longer. It's a better quality, adds more value to your house, and it's prettier. It's the fancy, it's the Louis Vuitton of roofs. If you're into name brands, do you want a Louis Vuitton or do you want a St. John's Bay? The choice is yours. Whatever you like, it's on you. So once you determine which type of shingle that you want, normally then you go on to pick out colors. Now, if you already have a 25-year three tap shingle, the 30-year laminate will be an upgrade. So if you want to go with that, your contractor will probably charge you a difference, a price. There will be an additional amount that you have to pay out of pocket for that. So they'll normally quote you both prices for it. If you can afford it, just go ahead and go with a 30-year laminate if you can afford it. Okay. Now, once you select a type of shingle, then it goes down to color. Another thing, you still need to reach out to your homeowners association about that, because you probably can't have a green roof in your neighborhood. I've seen plenty of green roofs in my life. So just be very cognizant of that. You want to make sure that your shingle color matches the rest of your house. So it's just your time to really just kind of design your house however you want. And just be aware, your contractor will probably start doing your roof before the sun shows up, 6 o'clock, and they will normally go all day. The average roof replacement can take up to 1.5 days, depending on the size. But just be expected to be a noisy day. I know we're all working from home, so just be prepared for a noisy day. I always recommend before they start, and most roofing companies will do that, but just do a walk around of your house with them. Take photos, look in the inside, make sure anything is damaged, because sometimes things will happen, so you just want to make sure that there's no additional damage. You don't see any additional cracks in your wall, because sometimes those nails can get overdrawn and can cause damage. So just make sure that you're aware of just the process and everything that goes along with it. But this process, sometimes it can be annoying when you hear someone banging and walking on your roof at 6:30 in the morning, ripping off shingles. So it can be noisy, but just be prepared. It's a good experience. You'll have a new roof in the end. And your house will look a lot better with the new roof. But like I said, today's episode is really quick, but verify with your homeowners association, with your city building codes, the type of shingle that's required. Decide if you want 25-year 25-year three tap shingle or a 30-year laminate architectural shingle. Those are the most common types of shingles. They have clay tiles, slate. There's other types of roofs that people have. And if you have one of those roofs, you know it, and you'll only stick with that type. And just expect a long, noisy day because it gets noisy. But they will work as hard as they can and get your roof taken care of within a week and a half. No, I'm sorry, within a day and a half. Unless they run across some additional issues for your house. But the average contractor will be upfront with you on the time. But I always give room for error. Someone may not show up today, and that could cause a delay in the process. But as a roofer, we just ask that you're understanding, and we will communicate everything with you along the process of replacing your roof for you to make sure that the process runs smooth and that you don't have any issues. Normally, the project manager will be in contact with you and walk through and keep you up to date on everything with the roof. Okay, so that's our podcast for the day, picking out your shingles. You can also, if you like this podcast, please share it. Um, Share it on all your social media. Send it to your friends, anyone that you may think has a question about their roof replacement. Thank you.